If I asked you what Singapore Airlines, Emirates, Qatar, Turkish Airlines, what all those different airlines have in common with an operator that only flies the 737, what would you say? Today we're going to be exploring Copa Airlines, the hub of the Americas. We're going to be on a flight leaving from Atlanta, headed down to Panama, connecting onwards to São Paulo. So if you're interested to see what the hub of the Americas is like, sit back, relax, get ready for another flight review. Let's head on into the terminal, get checked in, and maybe check out a lounge. Check-in with Copa Airlines is located within the international terminal. Two separate queues are available depending on the ticket you purchased. I'm in economy. While in line, one of the staff ensured my passport was valid and that I had a visa for my destination.
How are you?
All right, how are you?
Good. Where are you heading?
Sao Paulo.
Brazil?
Yes,
All right. You have your visas, right?
I do.
Lord, that
Visa.
Fine, okay? That should be
Thank you.
49.
Perfect. Have a good day.
$50.
I didn't have a bag to check and was quickly off to security. Man, TSA has some of the most rude staff of any organization, company out there. I mean, I understand if not liking your job, but you don't gotta be freaking assholes to everyone else you face on a daily basis. But anyways, let's head down into the tunnels connecting the terminals and get some lunch at the Centurion Lounge. The automated plane train connects each concourse at ATL, or you can walk. It takes about 20 to 30 minutes to walk from one end to the other if you're feeling adventurous. The walk between Foxtrot and Echo is the shortest one, which I usually always take. Alright, we made it into the Centurion Lounge. If you thought that it would be kind of quiet in here like it was outside the main terminal, you'd be wrong just like me. But I found a seat and the food options looked tasty, minus the chicken thighs. I'm not a big fan of the chicken thighs, but that's besides the point. I did find something that I'd be interested in. Big fan of the sweet potato ginger puree casserole sort of thing. Hopefully it tastes good. Cornbread always tastes good. If you have the opportunity to stop by here, I recommend you try the cornbread. But yeah, we'll give this food a shot. A few months ago, this exact lounge failed its Georgia Department of Health inspection for a few violations. During this visit, I noticed staff were being unusually proactive with cleaning tables, removing dirty dishes, and generally walking around. After seeing one of the executive chefs tailing what could only be an inspector, I came to the conclusion that an active inspection was currently underway. Well, got some food and my ride has arrived, so let's go get some new scenery. Let's exit the lounge and head over to the international terminal. The first leg of today's journey will be on one of Copa's 737-800 NGs. The 4-hour journey will cover a distance of 1,728 miles as we follow the coast of Florida south, crossing Cuba, the Cayman Islands, and the Caribbean Sea before crossing over Panama and landing on 03 right. So I have bad vision, but I've looked up and down the international terminal a few times between today's trip and several other trips. And do you notice anything missing from, modern drinking fountains that are commonly seen in the airport? Yeah, there's no refill station in the international terminal. They're all over in the domestic terminal, but I'm yet to find one in the international terminal. Maybe my eyes are worse than I thought. I don't know. ATL's dedicated international terminal is an okay place to hang out if you have to. There are not a lot of shops, there's a handful of restaurants to choose from, and the seating options aren't great. I suppose the saving grace is that you can access all of the other concourses without needing to exit the secured area.
Enjoy your flight, okay? Thank you so much.
As As we step over the threshold onto today's aircraft, let's take a look at the seat map. 16 business class seats are in the forward cabin, which feature a generous recline. 4 rows of economy seats with extra legroom follow the business class cabin, and the remainder of the aircraft is made up of 120 standard economy seats with a seat pitch of 30 inches. Alrighty, we made it on board and got the very last row, and unlike in my last video on Frontier where there was no window, we do have a window here available for our viewing pleasure. But first impressions on board, it's a good looking cabin. Everything looks pretty clean and tidy and not super worn. We'll take a look at the in-flight entertainment after we get off the ground, as well as what I can show you with the seats. Yeah, flight down to Panama, only about 3.5 hours or so. We'll see what sort of scenery we can get out the window. Probably not too much. We'll be over the Gulf of America, I suppose, for a good portion of the flight before we hit Central America. Yeah, looking forward to seeing what Copa Airlines has to offer here on this first time experience for me headed to Central America. Eventually, everyone found their seat. The doors were closed and the safety video was aired.
We invite you to learn this.
We were pushed back from the gate 14 minutes behind schedule and taxied down to 09 left.
Copa 891 Atlanta Tower, runway 9 left at Mike 2, line up and wait. There'll be a slight delay for in-trail spacing.
Roger, line up and wait, 09 left, Copa 891.
Copa 891 RNAV grid, runway 9 left at Mike 2, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 9, RNAV grid, Copa 891.
We are airborne, and yeah, not bad. Thankfully the vents have started pumping out some cool air because it was getting a bit warm in here. Decent takeoff. It was a little bit interesting. It seemed like we didn't start second engine until we were on the taxiway nearing the runway. Maybe I'm imagining things. Not sure if there's any sort of services on board. I also thought there was a in-flight entertainment option available that we could connect to via Wi-Fi, but I don't see any network available, so I'm not sure if maybe this aircraft is not equipped or it's just non-existent. Either way, I did download some shows to watch. Some of you are probably too young to realize that those monitors that flipped down from the ceiling in the cabin, it's actually how in-flight entertainment used to work. And before that, they were actually mounted CRT TVs fixed in place, and you didn't have an option to pick whatever show you wanted, whatever map view you wanted, movie. You had one option, and that's what was being played on the screen. The seating is a little tight back here, but you can't argue with the price I paid. I'll tell you what I paid for this round trip ticket from Atlanta to Sao Paulo in a little bit. You know what? Speak of the devil in terms of entertainment. The screen's just flipped down, and looks like we will be watching something. I didn't bother watching what was being played since I had free entertainment via the window. But the in-flight magazine did have a list of what could potentially be screened during the flight. Let's go ahead and check out the seat. The listed dimensions for the seat state 30 inches of pitch, so it's a tight seat if you're tall like me. Standard tray table folds down and extends, a useful feature I'd imagine if you're on the short side. The seat back pocket holds the air sickness bag, the safety card, and Copa's magazine.
Alright, so we're probably just past an hour or so into the flight, and there are 2 galley carts that roll down the aisle, and it looks like there are 2 hot meal options. Decent, more than I was anticipating at least. So we will see what Copa has to offer in terms of food service. Okay, well, one option available, that's one of the downsides of sitting in the back, is tend to run out of food options. It's meatloaf, a little odd looking. See how it tastes. I'm hungry, so it's better than nothing. Got some non-wooden cutlery, and it's unique coloring. I like that. Dropping everything.
Once I figured out how to hold my fork correctly, I was able to eat the food.
Right, well, as you can see, there's nothing left in the main dish except for a few crumbs. It was edible. I'm not the biggest food critic. I'm not a foodie. Said it before, I'll say it again. I eat to live. I don't live to eat. So don't put a whole lot of weight on my food reviews when it comes to airlines. If it's edible, I'll eat it, and I probably won't complain. Because that, again, I just swallow the food to get rid of that feeling of hunger. It's not something that I eagerly look forward to on a daily basis. Anyways, I'm glad to see that they still have the plastic cutlery. The drink cups say that they're becoming more sustainable. That's their destination, I guess.
Not a whole lot to view out the window when crossing a vast expanse of water, but the setting sun did make for some pretty views.
Okay, I'm thinking about just under an hour outside Panama City. Not much longer after the meal service finished, but got a nice cafe, negro, black coffee. And yeah, sun is setting almost to Panama. Let's see what the approach is like into Panama, if there's anything nice to see out the window. And then we'll check out the hub of the Americas in Panama City.
Unfortunately, it was too dark for the camera to pick up any nice views of Panama City skyline. In a future video, I'll show you what it looks like during the day.
Well, here we are, Panama City. Quite the grand entrance. It was an alright experience on the first flight. Next aircraft's a MAX, and I do believe that one does have onboard entertainment, but I'd also probably try and sleep. So let's see if we can find us a lounge here, and then head over to the gate to our flight headed down to São Paulo.
I was able to use my priority pass to get into the Copa Club. It's all pretty new in here. There's a nice sleeping section, entertainment area, plenty of open seating options, a business center, and a few food options.
Well, that lounge was very nice inside. I like the tropical vibes, sort of plants inside. The biggest downside was the food. I mean, I don't know what, I did not recognize that pasta meal, but I needed to eat something. So got some food in my stomach and brushed my teeth. No more grime and fuzz growing on my teeth. Decided to get a walk around throughout the airport because I'm going to be sitting down for the next 5+ hours. So let's go ahead and check out the rest of what's inside the terminal here in Panama.
I didn't do much walking actually and decided to just relax a bit.
Not sure if you can see out there, but the aircraft taking us down to Brazil has just arrived, and some of the folks are deplaning as we speak. Now, as a hub for the Americas, Panama's airport is somewhat different or unique compared to what you might run into within the States or Australia or Europe. Once you deplane, you actually are spit right out into the regular terminal. You don't have to go through customs, security, anything like that. That's because, Copa Airlines operates very little domestic flights. I think there might be 1 or 2 destinations within Panama, but if you look at it on a map, the population density is really centered around Panama City and the canal itself. If it weren't for the Panama Canal, the country's wealth wouldn't be the same as it is today. And arguably, Copa would not exist as it stands today. At one point, Copa actually operated an aircraft other than the Boeing 737. In fact, they operated the E-190s. They've all since been retired from Copa's fleet, and today the airline only operates the Boeing 737 type. Our flight down to Brazil will be on one of their MAX aircraft. Boarding time is just about started, so I'm gonna pop my eyeballs out, put the other 2 eyes on, and head over to the gate so we can get on board and check out the interior of Copa Airlines Boeing 737 MAX. Come on with me, let's get down to Brazil.
Let's very quickly check out the seat map. It is, after all, a variation of the last aircraft we were on. The biggest difference you'll notice when boarding a Copa MAX aircraft is in the front. As opposed to a standard recliner business class seat, these aircraft are fitted with lie-flat seats. The remainder of the aircraft seat layout is virtually the same, with 24 economy extra seats and the remaining being standard. I again booked myself in the last row, hoping no one else would want to sit that far back.
It's about the same amount of legroom. Go ahead and check out the recline here. Definitely make use of it since there's no one sitting behind me tonight. There might be someone sitting behind me in the toilet, but it's not my concern.
After the doors were closed, I joyously celebrated with myself that I'd have the adjacent 2 seats for myself. Not much to see tonight as we roll down the runway up into the darkness. Tonight's route had us cutting across Colombia and entering Brazil before we began our descent into São Paulo. Let's quickly compare the seat on the MAX to the NG. Excluding the device holder installed in the seat back in front of you, these seats are identical. That was easy. The major hidden difference between Copa's MAX and their NG, at least the one I noticed, is the ability to access what the airline calls Copa Showpass. Within this portal, you'll find the Flight Path 3D mapping program, a decent section of movies, and some TV shows. Copa currently does not offer Wi-Fi or messaging abilities on their flights. After quickly checking out the entertainment options, I decided it would be in my best interest to try and get a few hours of sleep.
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. After several hours of broken sleep, which I am very grateful for, this open row, we've begun our initial descent into São Paulo. We should be on the ground in about 20 minutes. Ended up skipping the meal service and prioritized sleep, but there was a meal service. There was only one. There's no other snack service. I believe there was another drink service, but overall pretty smooth flight. Cabin temperature was nice. Light from the sun is just starting to peek up over the horizon. Not sure it'll be light enough out for getting a view as we land, but we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting to see what customs is like here in São Paulo. Brazil was actually my first big boy aviation adventure a few years ago when we tested out Latam from JFK on a direct flight. At that time, I was new to the whole geekery, flying across the world for no reason besides to fly, and I ended up just spending I think I was inside Sao Paulo for just over 24 hours. Did not exit the airport, so this time planned it a little better, got a visa, and I'll be exploring a bit of Brazil.
Flight attendants, please be seated.
How much did this flight cost? I paid $286 for this round-trip ticket from Atlanta to Sao Paulo, making the base fare for the round-trip ticket an incredible 3 cents per mile. Now, I did end up paying $14 to select my seat, but still, the price included the carry-on and a personal item.
Caballeros, sean todos bienvenidos a la ciudad de São Paulo. La hora local, 6:25 de la mañana. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to São Paulo City. The local time, 25 minutes past 6 in the morning. Permanezcan sentados, monitores de seguridad conectados.
Well, it doesn't get much easier than that. That was a pretty simple way to get through customs. Just a quick check on what I'm doing here, and off I went. Customs agent was quite friendly. He had several wings, Delta, Air Canada, Latam. I asked him how he got so many, and he said he thinks the flight crews like his smile. Anyways, nice to have a positive, cheerful attitude, especially when you're welcoming foreigners into your country. Let me know what you think of Copa Airlines. It's kind of a hybrid between a somewhat low cost and then a full service carrier. They do provide you with a meal service. You get carry-on as well as your personal item. But in terms of legroom and onboard service, it is somewhat of a mix between what you would get on a standard American carrier compared to Frontier or any other low-cost carrier. I enjoyed it. It was definitely cheap to get a round-trip ticket from Atlanta to Sao Paulo, but it's not every day you'll find a round-trip ticket to Brazil for $280 US. Anyways, I'm gonna find a lounge or somewhere to freshen up a bit because I have 3 more flights today before the sun sets. So I have to get ready for the next few flights. Make sure that you subscribe and hit the like button so that you can be updated on when those videos are dropped. As always, thanks for watching. See ya. Decided to get a walk around throughout the airport. The flight we took from Atlanta to Atlanta. Cabin looks very similar to aviation adventure a couple years ago.